Okay, good evening, everybody. We will get started with the pledge from our student representative from Browning, Katie Hamilton. Welcome. You can now lead us in the pledge.
Thank you. Um, if I could have all the participants stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Put your hand over your heart, please. And ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
for which
stands,
it stands,
one nation, under God,
one nation, under God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Thank you. We welcome those who are here for purposes of addressing the board at the proper time and in the order of their request. For those who have not already submitted a request, we have provided forms in the back of the room and also have additional copies here in the front of the Assistant Secretary's position. If you wish to speak during the meeting, please fill out a form indicating your name and the agenda item you wish to address. You may also make a request to give testimony on an item not listed for discussion today. However, full discussion on any items not listed on the agenda will have to be delayed until such time as an item can be publicly posted in advance as a regular agenda item. If you wish to ask questions, please address them to the chair and not to individual members of the board or staff. And having read that, I realize we are not in person. We have been accepting uh, public comment through our new phone system. So uh, from here going forward, when we meet virtually, if you want to make a public comment, check online for the information for our phone, our new phone-in system. Report of action taken in closed session. The board has been meeting in closed session regarding matters listed on today's closed session agenda and wishes to report that no reportable actions were taken. So, Katie, thank you for being with us today. Um, how about you start us out with a report?
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine Hamilton. I am a senior and a member of the first graduating class at Richard D. Browning High School, and I'm currently in the hospitality pathway. Currently, I am a student representative in our school council, and I am also working as an ASB team member. As a reminder, Richard D. Browning High School is a small thematic high school that focuses on the hospitality and culinary arts pathways. Browning's mission is to provide educational opportunities within the hospitality, recreation, tourism, and culinary arts industries. Our school community thrives on the opportunity to increase the number of college graduates in our very unique pathways. Our Browning teachers provide an incredible helping hand to their students and work hard to ensure students are feeling comfortable with at-home learning. As a senior, I am currently taking 5 classes which are block schedule. Block schedule requires classes to be 88-minute long. All of my teachers have been so gracious and helpful in offering assistance or needed breaks during our classes. Our teachers also offer flexible due dates and thorough step-by-step instructions. Some of our Browning teachers also offer tutoring time during our unscheduled 8th period. The ASB newsletter team devotes time every meeting to ensure our Browning student newsletter is up to date and has useful information for our student body. Our newsletter includes our at-home learning schedule, upcoming events, and even information about local companies that are hiring. It also includes a Teacher of the Week and a Student of the Week to promote a sense of community. ASB has also worked on a student engagement survey. This survey was created to figure out how we can improve our students' participation in Zoom classes. One of our tasks as an ASB team was to create an individual student outreach program. One of our ASB team members, Mason Barrett, reaches out to students who request one-on-one help, and he offers his time to help answer students' general questions, guide them to the correct faculty member they need to talk to, or provide freshmen with information that they need. Our on-site school staff has been working tirelessly to keep our school clean and safe for when students and teachers return to school. If students need to visit the Browning campus, our staff ensures to maintain social distancing and to observe safe health regulations while providing a pleasant experience. Our staff and faculty have also been planning a virtual school-wide event to promote school culture and community. Browning's hospitality program uses the NAVTRAC program through comprehensive classes, and our culinary program uses the CCAP program to help students competitively improve their skills. The NAVTRAC program has provided many useful classes for students to learn more about the hospitality industry. The CCAP program has helped benefit students who have taken part in CCAP cooking competitions. This is our first year entering seniors into the CCAP competitions for scholarships, and we are so excited to cheer them on. For our culinary students, over 300 kits will be put together for students to check out like textbooks. They will be able to use these for at-home labs or in class. Utensils like spatulas, mixing bowls, measuring spoons, measuring cups, whisks, and cutting boards will all be included. Our baking and pastry students received a donation from King Arthur's Bake for Good program. The Browning team was able to portion these out to create at-home lab baking kits, including all-purpose flour, whole wheat flour, yeast, bread bags, utensils, and a reusable bag. Our students also have the opportunity to take college classes with the dual enrollment program at Long Beach City College. This year, some of our senior students are taking Introduction to Business, Ethnic Studies, and Introduction to Criminal Justice. The dual enrollment programs help students see a fresh perspective into their future college lives. Another opportunity for our students is applying for a virtual internship for freeconferencecall.com. In the second semester, they will complete a business plan and create their own video cooking series or travel magazine. As the first graduating class, we are excited and eager for our future. We are so thankful for the memories we have made. Browning has and will continue to prepare us for our future and beyond. Despite the circumstances, our teachers and staff are doing the best they can to provide us with the meaningful educational experience while maintaining rigor. We look forward to returning to school and sending our seniors off with a bang. All of us at Browning High School would like to thank the members of the school board, Superintendent Baker, and our principal, Dr. Anderson, for all of your guidance during this challenging time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie. Well, as you're talking about being part of the first graduating class at Browning, my fingers are crossed that we can turn this whole situation around and we can have a fabulous graduation ceremony for you and your classmates. That would be a wonderful motivation for us to wear a mask, social distance, all that kind of thing. So we understand if you have homework and you can't spend the rest of the evening with us for this board meeting, you can stay as long as you'd like. You're welcome, but we understand if you have other things to do. So thank you again, Katie.
Thank you so much.
Next on the agenda, public hearing, we have none. Call for agenda items for separate action, adoption of the agenda as posted.
Move approval of the agenda.
Second.
Discussion. We'll have a roll call vote, so all in favor, Dr. Benitez.
Aye.
Ms. Kerr.
Aye.
Mr. Meyer. Dr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Meyer, you were muted, but I saw you.
Now I'm unmuted. Felton did it to me again, doggone him. I said aye.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that we're on the up and up. So Dr. Williams,
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? At 5-0. Approval of minutes.
Move approval.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, Dr. Bastidas?
Aye.
Ms. Kerr?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Dr. Williams?
Aye.
I vote aye. Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. Communications. Recognition of retiring Board of Education members. Ms. Kerr, would you like to start?
I certainly will. Normally, we would have someone stand in front of us, but we see Dr. Williams on the screen. Whereas Dr. Felton Williams is retiring after more than 16 years of dedicated service on the Long Beach Unified School District Board of Education, including 5 terms as president. And whereas he joined the school board after a long and distinguished career in higher education, working as an administrator at Cal State Long Beach, Cal State Dominguez Hills, Sacramento City College, and Long Beach City College. And whereas he was instrumental in LBUSD's strategic planning, the Academic and Career Success Initiative, and many other key efforts to provide equitable opportunities to all students, regardless of their color, culture, language challenges, or socioeconomic background. And whereas he brought national honor and recognition to LBUSD through his service on the executive committee of the Washington, D.C.-based Council of Great City Schools, and he earned the National Urban Educator Green Gardner Award in 2017. And whereas he has advocated for and helped to lead vital efforts, including improved access to advanced placement courses, ethnic studies, and facilities master planning in partnership with community allies, and his optimism, tenacity, and genuine concern and care for children will be missed. Now, therefore, be it resolved that his colleagues on the Board of Education commend and express a deep gratitude to Dr. Felton Williams for his significant and lasting contributions to the education of thousands of students. Congratulations, Dr. Williams.
Thank you very much, Megan. Thank you.
And I understand we have a special guest who would like to say a few words. So, Mr. Habert.
Well, good afternoon. I assume I'm the special guest. I thank you.
You are.
Giving me the honor of addressing the board and the many teachers and employees and parent volunteers who help to educate our children. By the way, it does not get said enough. So let me say thank you to all of you, both as a parent with 2 children who attended Long Beach schools and as a prosecutor who understands the importance of high quality schools. I just want to thank everyone, all the board members, all of you, entirely for all that you do. You know, the COVID-19 pandemic has stopped much of American life this year, but I did not want it to stop me from congratulating soon to be retiring school board members like John Meyer and Dr. Felton Williams, and just to acknowledge the incredible, really immeasurable contribution that both of them have made to the education of tens of thousands of students. Many of our students, by the way, live below the poverty line. Many are foster children, many are homeless. But, you know, we believe all of them deserve the best possible education. And that's why Dr. Williams and John Meyer ran for school board in the first place. And they've done just a fantastic job for us. So I wanted to congratulate both of them. But let me just turn my comments briefly to Dr. Felton Williams. I know that we're, accommodating or congratulating both of them, but a lot of people don't know the impact that Dr. Williams has made on the criminal justice system in Long Beach, buying through my office. A lot of his educational accomplishments are pretty well known, but I wanted to share with everyone, for those who do not know, just how supportive he has been of my office in a number of areas. And by the way, we did not partner, my office, the city prosecutor's office, did not partner with the school district up until really the last decade. And it's because of people like John Meyer and Felton Williams and all of you that we've been able to do that. But our office has been doing a lot connecting children who need mentors with mentors in the community. We've been working with the school district on gang intervention programs that help keep kids in school and away from gangs. And then the biggest is probably our truancy reduction program, where we partner with some of the principals in the schools that are having truancy challenges to make sure that all the obstacles are removed so that kids are in their seat every day. So those are things that will never be reported in the minutes of an agenda of a meeting. There's really no way to describe the advice that I've gotten from Dr. Williams every month of every year that we've been partnering together. And he has shared with me his experience as a Black man and as a person growing up in Southern California, what the criminal justice system means to him and what it has meant to him and his family. The amount of learning that I've done in the last 10 years as city prosecutor could not have been accomplished without his support. So I just wanted to add that. I know that they will be acknowledged for many of the educational things that they do and continue to do, and thank God for both of them on our school board. But I wanted to add that to the record, and hopefully someday there's a way I can more fitting of this honor show my appreciation. But Dr. Williams, in ways quiet and subtle and unknown to many, has made a significant positive change in the lives of many people who found alternatives to incarceration, alternatives to court proceedings because of the guidance he's given my office. So I just want to thank you, Dr. Williams. Congratulations. Time to dust off the fishing pole. And I look forward to spending more time with you after you retire from the school board. And congratulations also, John Meyer, to you. And thank you for all the support you've given my office and my family as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now I would like to read a resolution for John Meyer. Whereas John Meyer is retiring after more than 17 years of dedicated service on the Long Beach Unified School District Board of Education, including 3 terms as president, and whereas he has dedicated his life to local schools where he worked for 42 years as a highly respected teacher, coach, and principal at Lowell, Milliken, Lakewood, Poly, Avalon, and Wilson schools, and as a teacher at Long Beach City College, and whereas he attended Willard Elementary School, Jefferson Middle School, and Wilson High School, he is among 4 generations of Meyers to attend and or teach in our local schools. And whereas during his time on the Board of Education, he has helped to navigate extremely difficult challenges, including the Great Recession, while ensuring the preservation of the school district's vital missions and its status as a high-functioning organization that is respected nationally and internationally for striving to serve all students, no matter what challenges they may face. And whereas the genuine personal connection that he has made with colleagues and others in the wider community during his long career as an LBUSD employee and board member have served the school district remarkably well. And through his unwavering and encouraging leadership, he has helped to keep the school district centered first and foremost on the well-being of students. Now therefore be it resolved that his colleagues on the Board of Education commend and express deep gratitude to John Meyer for his significant and lasting contributions to the education of thousands of students. And what we're missing by being, online and having this meeting virtually is that we don't get to shake your hands. We don't get to express that emotion personally. It's very tough. This is only the first of a couple of different goodbyes that we have set up. We're starting early, starting in November. Dr. Williams, you have a couple more meetings. Mr. Meyer, a couple more meetings, and we intend to acknowledge you at each of those meetings. So thank you. This is the first of many things.
Diana, can we comment? Is it okay to comment? Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, Megan, very much for the reading of the resolution. Thank you, Doug. Doug and I have traveled a lot of paths together, and he's very dear to me, extremely dear to me and my family. You know, it's. I know it's time to say farewell, but how do you say farewell to 16 years? You know, I first came to the board 2004 while I was still serving as dean over at City College, and having to adjust to the district's culture and becoming familiar with the process in the district was a major bit of a learning curve, and becoming acquainted with the nuances and dynamics of the district. But the folks in the district were extremely helpful. And also serving on the Council of Great City Schools added a dimension to the work that was very important for me to see and understand the impact of our district. I did have that a moment where running for the fourth term was a bit of a problem. And what I didn't share with a lot of people was that I had to go through lung cancer surgery in 2016 in December 3rd. And I had to make a decision between December 15th and January 15th, whether to run for re-election. I didn't share that with anybody because I wasn't sure of how that would be interpreted if I decided to run. When the doctor cleared me the following week and said the cancer had not spread, then I decided to run for re-election. And one of the first times where I didn't have an opponent and I thought I was going to get away scot-free. But at the last day, at the last moment, someone filed to run. And so I had to get out and mount a full campaign. So, but we were successful. You know, my focus on the board is really shaped by what I experienced in the 50s and 60s as an African American, and a very vivid and real understanding of the inequities in a lot of our basic structures. And so for me, it's always been about advocating for fairness with every opportunity that I can get. And none of that changed when I became a member of the board. And none of that will change as I depart as a member of the board. It's always been my basic assumption is, why should anyone be treated differently? I do recall being asked to attend a meeting in the city with some very influential people, and they wanted me to change my position on our vote to review the skid report from the railroad and their efforts to build transfer stations near our schools. And I was told at that meeting that if I didn't change, that I would lose their support for my reelection. That the railroad also sent a sizable contribution to my campaign. That when I spoke with Doug about it, Doug said, send it back airmail. Thank you, Doug, for that. But my thought going through was, who's going to speak up for the kids? Who's going to advocate on their behalf? Well, needless to say, I did not get that support, but that was okay. Moving forward, I'm going to pass the baton to Eric Miller. I think he'll do a fantastic job. Currently, I'm serving as president of the African American Cultural Center in Long Beach. It's a newly established 501c3 with a stated mission to celebrate the cultural heritage of African Americans in the city of Long Beach and beyond. By the way, Chris Steinhauser thought he would be getting away, but he's working with me, as well as Judy Seal. We're working presently to develop the infrastructure. We've put together strategic goals and objectives. We have the Articles of Incorporation approved. We've established programming focus for the facility that would look at art in Long Beach. The military in Long Beach and education is the areas that we'll focus on. Recently signed a lease for property on Long Beach Boulevard that will serve as our temporary headquarters for exhibits and cultural events. So I'm still going to be busy, folks. In conclusion, it's been a blend of unique challenges and opportunities as a member of the board. And I've been extremely pleased to see the development of an equity policy unfolding. It's been a wonderful experience in working with board colleagues, administrative staff, teachers and parents, Chris and Jill. I feel fortunate in the lessons that I've learned, and I hope I've been able to make a contribution. And thank you all so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Okay, let's move to public testimony on items listed.
Diana, John may want to have to say a few words as well. So, John.
Okay, Mr.
Yeah.
Meyer?
Well, first of all, congratulations to Felton Williams and the mark that he's left on our district. He's been a wonderful friend, a colleague, a teacher, a mentor, just a wonderful man. I have nothing but thanks to the entire district. I'm proud of our board. Every one of our board members puts students first and student outcomes above everything else. I'm very proud of Jill and of course Chris Steinhauser and their staff. It's everything in my experience from kindergarten through 12th grade to teaching and being a principal and a board member. Everything has been very selfish in the sense that so many people have given to me. I just deeply appreciate everything the district, the students, the support staff have given to me in terms of close, intimate friendships, and I respect them all deeply. So thank you very much. It's always been a pleasure, and I look forward to serving as a VIP at my old elementary school, Willard. It's a very needy place. So to go in and work with those little kids will remain a future goal of mine. Thank you so much.
John, you've got 2 more opportunities to take shots at me, just 2. All right.
Well, I'm going to reserve them for the next meeting. I don't want to blow everything in one night.
All right, my friend.
Thanks, Felton. Congratulations. You're the best.
You too, John.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Meyer. Now we will move to public testimony on items listed on the agenda. And I don't believe we have any.
No, we don't.
Okay, so we have none. Public testimony on items not listed on the agenda. I know we have one.
Yes.
And this is our first telephone submission.
Yes, that is correct. It will be played right now.
$6 million, elementary and secondary school emergency relief, ESSER funds, $23 million, a total of $90 million that a school district was to receive. It's spent before December 31st. To date, 83% of the funds have been spent, about $75 million. Where did it go? As a parent, I still don't know where and how these funds have been spent to academically support our students, invest in their social emotional learning, trauma, and parent-student engagement. We want to hear how you will be spending the rest of these funds. $15,190,340 to meet the needs of our students and parents, particularly our highest need students. I have spent the last 3 months buying supplies for my kinder and second grader over and over to support their virtual learning experience, but very well aware that 70% of our student body does not have the same resources. I've supported various fundraisers across our city and district to support the growing needs of families. Earlier this year, I saw teachers fundraise for technology like a document reader to enhance the virtual learning experience and wondered, why are parents being asked to support these items when our district had $90 million to meet this moment? My second thought was, if our school has the means to financially support teacher requests, what about other school sites? Did the district make this tool available to every teacher through these funds? If so, did the district communicate to teachers that these resources are available at every school site? I have seen teachers fundraise for headsets for the students. My second grader's Chromebook continues to give us connectivity and mic issues. After 3 failed attempts in replacing the Chromebook 5 with another Chromebook 5, I gave up and purchased a laptop for her. I know this is a privilege. Is the district buying and actively replacing Chrome 5 books with the 6th latest version? If it's not, it should. Parents and teachers are spending out of their own pocket money to support the students. Why are parents being asked to support when these funds are intended to purchase these items? This district has $50 million left to spend before December 31st, and parents should know where the funds are being spent to support our students. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was our first attempt. We're off to a little bit of a slow start, but it worked out, so that's good. I should also note that the transcribed message will be part of public record. Is that true? Okay,
Yes, that is correct.
okay, so in addition to that, each board member has been given those remarks as well. Okay, now we move to staff report. There is none. Business items, personnel, Dr. Williams.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I have a personnel report prepared by Assistant Superintendent of HR, David Zaid, and approved by the Superintendent, Dr. Jill Baker. I'll read the classified portion of the report first. There were 32 appointments, 25 leaves of absence, 1 separation, deceased, 10 resignations, 7 retirements, 1 abolishment, lack of work, lack of funds, 2 amendments, and 2 rescissions. On the certificated portion, there were 23 appointments, 12 in-service changes, 9 leaves of absence, 1 retirement. I move approval. Move approval.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, Dr. Benitez,
Aye.
Ms. Kerr,
Aye.
Mr. Meyer,
Aye.
Dr. Williams.
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Finance report A.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, Dr. Benitez,
Aye.
Ms. Kerr,
Aye.
Mr. Meyer,
Aye.
Dr. Williams.
Aye.
I vote aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Finance report B.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Madam Chair, I recuse myself from participation in Finance Report B on the consent calendar. I have a potential financial interest under Government Code 1091 and 87100. My husband works for a subcontractor who has done work for the payees.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, Dr. Benitez,
Aye.
Mr. Meyer,
Aye.
Dr. Williams.
Aye.
I vote aye. So that passes 4-0 with 1 abstention. Business department report.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Madam President, I just wanted to highlight and acknowledge the $30,000 grant that we received from the Norris Foundation for our robotics program at CAMS. Just thank you. A wonderful opportunity for students.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a fabulous contribution to the robotics program. Any further discussion?
One more thing, Madam President, and I thought I had seen it somewhere else on the agenda. Apologies if I missed it. regarding the grant proposal for externships for teachers. Did I miss something in our agenda, or is it included?
Number 8 on the business department report.
Yes. So again, just want to highlight that I think this is great that we're going after. This is a grant proposal to provide externship opportunities, build our capacity as a district to advance our CTE efforts. Wondering if anyone on our executive staff could speak a little bit more to it, because I think particularly in this time with many fiscal constraints and budget challenges, that our district is still looking for opportunities to advance our mission and values, and in this case, with our career tech ed efforts.
Sure, Dr. Benitez, thank you. This is a great opportunity. It's a grant from the state, as you all know, that comes to our K-12 work and building that CTE and pathway, a career pathway, working with our teachers from Long Beach City College and teachers from Long Beach Unified. It's a 2 to 3 day summer connection with real business experience for them to bring and tie it in with our students as they come to our schools during the school year. So excellent opportunity for us.
Thank you, Dr. Camarino.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor, Dr. Benitez,
Aye.
Ms. Kerr,
Aye.
Mr. Meyer,
Aye.
Dr. Williams.
Aye.
I vote aye. Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. Purchasing and contracts report.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, Dr. Benitez,
Aye.
Ms. Kerr,
Aye.
Mr. Meyer,
Aye.
Dr. Williams.
Aye.
I vote aye. Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. Superintendent items, Dr. Baker.
You, President Craighead and members of the board, I'm recommending the expulsion of the following student. Student number 698. The student listed would be expelled under Education Code 48915C4. Prior to being considered for possible readmission, the student will be required to successfully complete a specific program of rehabilitation designed to prevent further misconduct and to promote academic success.
I move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, Dr. Benitez,
Aye.
Ms. Kerr,
Aye.
Mr. Meyer,
Aye.
Dr. Williams.
Aye.
I vote aye. Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. Unfinished business, we have none. New business, California School Employees Association, CSEA, COVID-19 school opening memorandum of understanding. Mr. Rockenbach, would you like to address this?
Thank you, Ms. Craighead and board members and esteemed colleagues. We were very fortunate to get the news yesterday evening that our CSEA bargaining team was able to ratify the MOU that we've been working on together for the past couple of months. And it was a wonderful process where we were able to collaborate, work together, and really try to develop an agreement that helped both our employees stay safe, as well as support our students' needs and help carry out the mission of our district. Some of the key areas that I wanted to address is, first of all, wanted to thank the commitment of our CSEA bargaining team for their effort and their willingness to be open and honest in their communication. We wanted to thank the district team because there's a number of district members who spent a lot of hours working through this process and provided great insight. And having the two teams come together and really share where they're coming from, I think helped develop this MOU. Some of the key areas that were a primary focus in the MOU was safety, and both of our teams felt that this was our #1 priority, to be able to keep students, staff, and families safe. Areas that we really focused on were things such as proper screening when people arrive at the workplace, making sure everybody had access to the proper protective equipment. I'm sure we're going to think of PPE for the rest of our lives as we move forward, but that was such an important part. Making sure we're on the same page when it came to cleaning and making sure our campuses were taken care of each day. And then also in the event, like we've seen throughout our communities, when there is positive cases, to make sure we're working together for contact tracing to minimize the impacts of that. A second part of it was developing a fair leave process for our employees. Part of what we've been working with our employees is they have access to the emergency sick leave program that came through our CARES Act. But one of the concerns from our bargaining members was the need that if they had a second quarantine, to be able to have leave to be able to access. And so part of the agreement was providing our employees up to 10 additional leave days for quarantine needs. The third part was to be able to allow some of our employees who work directly with our students in the classroom to have work location flexibility like our teachers. So that was another part of our MOU. And our employees will be able to start processing for that if this is approved by our Board of Education. We also wanted to make sure that we recognized and understood that our employees that were considered at high risk by the health department had access to our interactive process if some of those risk factors hampered their work here at the sites. And then lastly, we wanted to have a process to where we could come together and address our concerns in a collaborative manner moving forward. And so what you have before you is the hard work and dedication of both our CSEA and TAL bargaining unit teams. And we present this to you for your approval.
Thank you.
I move approval.
I second.
Discussion.
Yes, Madam President. I just wanted to echo Mr. Rockenbach's thanks to both our district negotiating team and to the CSEA bargaining team. I'm very appreciative that they came to the best agreement possible, given that our CSEA members are the backbone of our district, and oftentimes, maybe from a public perspective, go unnoticed, but they are at the core, thousands of them, at ensuring our student success. So many thanks, Steve, to you and our district bargaining team, as well as to our CSEA bargaining team for reaching the best possible agreement possible.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that our classified staff have been working really hard nonstop since the schools shut down. They didn't take time off or away from schools because they have been busy sanitizing and moving things around. They've been in our offices answering calls, acting as tech support, doing those things that make this virtual learning easier for families and for students. So we greatly appreciate the work that they have continued to do throughout this pandemic while living themselves and their families within this pandemic. So I am grateful that we came to an agreement, and for everyone who came to the table to work hard for our employees and for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? And I'd like to thank my colleagues for pointing out those things, that our classified employees are the ones who have been there, well, with other staff members, along with other staff members, and we rely on them so much. And they do have the interest of our students at heart, the best interest of our students at heart. So it is wonderful that we have these teams that can work together and come up with a solution that's good for everybody. Okay, so all in favor, Dr. Benitez?
Aye.
Ms. Kerr?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Dr. Williams?
Aye.
I vote aye. Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. Board policy 1312.3, uniform complaint procedures.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, just a quick question, Dr. Baker. I know these come up occasionally, are board policies that have come up for revision in order to comply either with state laws that have changed. I'm wondering if these few do that. I do realize high school graduation requirements, which comes up, is probably more COVID related. But if you could just give an overview of why the board policy changes are tonight.
Sure, and Mr. Zaid's going to jump in on the two coming out of his office.
Sure. So two of the board policies coming from HR are specifically UCP, and then the next one right behind it, sexual harassment. For the uniform complaint procedure, it was, as you stated, Ms. Kerr, an update from the California Department of Education. The update came out on July 1st of 2020. And so the revisions are small adjustments are really in compliance with that update. There were several things that were added and a few things that were adjusted, specifically preschool complaints being added. And so one of the things that we want to do is always ensure that our board policies comply with those recent updates. In the same way, a new Title IX law went into place for sexual harassment, and that became effective August 14th. So the very next board policy right behind this one is again to ensure that we comply with those updates.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, Dr. Benitez?
Aye.
Ms. Kerr?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Dr. Williams?
Aye.
I vote aye. Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. Board policy P5145.7, sexual harassment.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, Dr. Benitez?
Aye.
Ms. Kerr?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Dr. Williams?
Aye.
I vote aye. Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. Resolution 111820-A, statutory school facility fees, including alternative school facility fees, reportable fees, report for fiscal year 2019-2020, reportable fee report, and findings thereon.
Madam President, did we skip over our high school requirement policy?
We did. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. Since I just read that last one, that's really long, let's go ahead and take care of that. And I promise to go back to the high school one.
Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Oh no, you were on it. It was I who missed it. Okay, so we'll do that school facility fee one and then go back to the high school one.
Mr. Miranda is here to open the discussion about that resolution.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Craighead and Dr. Baker, members of the board and executive staff. I'll be fairly brief here. First and foremost, government code allows school districts to collect impact fees or developer fees from new residential developments, commercial and industrial developments. Wherever we're able to demonstrate that we have to mitigate the impact of these new developments on facilities in the school district. The same government code section also requires that we comply with certain reporting requirements, and that includes a certain list of factors for the previous reporting year and also what we propose on expenditures for the current fiscal year or next fiscal year. So for this past year, we started with a beginning balance of roughly $3.2 million in our developer fee account. We collected close to $6.5 million, and our expenditures totaled a little over $7.7 million. Our ending balance as of June 30th, 2020 was 1.9. I state that for reference, but also because it was an important factor for us. One of our personal goals was to reduce the carryover balance from last year to this year, and we were able to achieve that, kind of going from 3.2 to roughly 1.9 where we stand now. The primary expenditure for this past year was over at or allocated to Millikan High School's new building, new classroom building. About $7.5 million was dedicated to that project in and of itself. The remaining fees were just basically administrative fees. Of course, that frees up bond dollars, right? So us able to leverage those dollars frees up bond dollars for other future projects in the district. With respect to this next year, we don't anticipate collecting $6.5 million, probably something a little south of that, but we've identified a few potential projects over at Jordan and Lakewood high schools. And we can basically do the same and achieve the same and leverage our own bond dollars. We were able to establish a nexus with these reporting fees and the fees we collect to those projects, which is what the report requires. So really at this point in time, staff is recommending approval and adoption of this resolution, which would demonstrate compliance with government code sections 66001 and 66006.
Thank you, Mr. Miranda. Do we have any further discussion or any questions?
Yeah, David, thank you for that overview. Much appreciated. Love that background picture you have there, David.
I plugged it in when I saw yours.
I move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
I see what I did there. Okay, so now do we have any discussion that it's been moved and seconded? Yes, Dr. Benitez.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Miranda. So has our strategy been, and I totally understand it, to use these funds for our facilities? That way we can leverage our bond money. Is that the strategy?
Partly that, but also where we can demonstrate that nexus, right? So as we're getting these developments in certain regions in the district, we attempt to funnel those dollars to those direct schools in the area.
Thank you. Understood.
And another question, David, the rationale and reason for the facilities fees are to make sure that if there's new student growth in the city, that the fees would accommodate that growth. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So are we getting new students?
I sure hope so. We look at student generation rates on a regular basis. That's something we'll continue to monitor.
All right. Thank you, David. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're ready for the vote. So all in favor, Dr. Benitez?
Aye.
Ms. Kerr?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Dr. Williams?
Aye.
I vote aye. Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. And as promised, Board Policy 6146.1, high school graduation requirements.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, Dr. Benitez?
I'm sorry, dude. I had a glitch, Madam President. Can I ask a question?
You may.
Yeah, so I missed like 10 seconds before there was a pause on my. Did we skip the discussion?
Yes.
I missed it. I may have missed the discussion. I apologize.
It's okay because we haven't voted yet. I was going to you for the first vote, so we can have a discussion at this point.
And it's for our high school graduation requirements, right? That we went back to.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my question is, understanding that we had to adjust our requirements, right, because of our pandemic and us going remote. Either a question for Dr. Camarino or anyone on executive staff, sort of what our thinking and strategy is now, given that we do have challenges with supporting our high school students. And I'm wondering just what kind of strategies, intervention, supports we're going to put in play to help continue supporting our students, but also, recognizing that, we have a different playing field, so to speak, this academic year, and sort of what our thinking is in terms of those high school students that are particularly challenged this year. So any thoughts on strategies, Dr. Camarino, or what we've been thinking about would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Benitez. Definitely, we know during this pandemic, it's a real challenge. And so 2 things to consider as we develop our graduation requirements. One is we changed them last year because of COVID, and students, especially our seniors, who didn't have an opportunity to, on March 13th, to be able to make up the credits needed in order to graduate. So we designed our master schedules in in a preparation for our requirements to go back to the way they were pre-COVID. So our master schedule design at all of our high schools are for the 220 credits that our students should have when they finish high school. So that's one piece. The second piece, definitely, so the master schedule has a determining factor onto the graduation requirements that are going to help. The other factor that's huge is, to your point, the system that we know is in need of our at-promise students and our struggling students who are trying to get the credits they need to move forward. And the connections that our schools are making is that we definitely have to look at the shifting of the master schedule using credit recovery, Apex, and different things that we have at our schools to ensure that our students are getting the master schedule and the schedule that's very differentiated, and looking at perhaps even making some changes to the master schedule to say, these are the classes we were going to offer for second semester, but really looking at and pointing to how we can design classes for our students to make up credits, but also even looking at ideas of what we're going to do for our summer school programs also. So there is the notion of a 0 to an 8th period class, opportunities for students to get chances to make up credits during 0 period, during 8th period, and also during their unscheduled periods that we were already assigning our students to have. So those are things that we're working on actually tomorrow at our principals meeting that we'll have. And again, we'll have a plan of action for our students that are falling behind tomorrow.
Thank you, Dr. Camarino. Just to follow up to that, that's precisely where I was coming from with my question. I guess as part of that, my concern is realizing that this may have, since we rescheduled our board workshop, much of this conversation probably was going to be covered in terms of how we are measuring progress right now, Dr. Camarino. Don't want you to spend a lot of time on it, but given what you just described, how are we keeping tabs on progress and identifying those students that would need our additional supports?
Oh, definitely. Our focus has been looking at now with our new system through Canvas is how to grab the data of our DF rates. So we're looking at our DF rates of our students right now, especially within our pathways. So our administrators, our counselors are looking really closely at our pathway success with students who are receiving Ds and Fs, and allocating our resources, our site money, our site resources towards those interventions and students and credit recovery that our students are going to need by pathway, by specifically looking tomorrow at our DF rates by pathway at all of our schools.
Dr. Brown, do you want to add anything to that in terms of the policy changes?
No, I think Dr. Camarino did a wonderful job in answering the questions, and thanks to the high school office, specifically Dr. Camarino and Carol Ortega, who facilitated conversation with head counselors at the high schools to make sure that the policy that comes before you this evening reflects both the change from the suspension of our local requirements, but also is current in the work that we're doing going forward. So thank you, Jay, for that explanation.
Dr. Brown, thank you. And I wanted to make sure again, Carol Ortega, the head counselors, and all of our counselors system-wide in our high school level have just been, working day and night to really try to meet the needs of our students, not just prior to the DFs coming out for the quarter, but even within the first day of school of connecting to make sure our students had bandwidth, had a Chromebook, had the connections to the whole SEL component to our students, and they're still working very hard on connecting with our students that way. So a shout out to our counselors who are working effortlessly to bring our students back to the most normal feel possible, and in ensuring that we have that graduation requirement met for all of our students.
Thank you for that explanation and background. Do we have any further questions or discussion? Okay. All in favor, Dr. Benitez?
Aye.
Ms. Kerr?
Aye.
Meyer?
Aye.
Dr. Williams?
Aye.
I vote aye. Opposed, abstentions, passes 5-0. And now we are at equity policy development update. Dr. Brown.
Good evening. Thank you. And I just have a brief update this evening. We are celebrating receiving 268 applications for the Equity Leadership. I said 268 applications. So I think that tells a story of our community's interest in this topic and their willingness to become involved. In that 268 are majority parents and community members, as well as about a third staff members who are willing to speak and give their time and share their experience and expertise. And that number has caused us to regroup a little bit. So we'll be moving forward with the idea of accepting about 30 people to be a part of an equity leadership advisory team. But we absolutely don't want to lose the momentum, the interest, and the ability to really have a large representative group as a working group to gather ideas, seek input, and run policy ideas through. So we are delaying the announcement of the official equity leadership team for a couple of weeks. And I'm working with a small committee to come up with some ways to larger use the huge group that we got. So I'm really celebrating the interest and just wanting to garnish all of that good energy as we go forward.
Well, that sounds like a good problem to have.
I called it good trouble, and I stand by that.
Okay, do we have any questions for Dr. Brown?
Yeah, just a comment. I had mentioned previously the impetus that I have for this process and for this equity piece that's coming into the district. And I just have to go back to the first time I came on board in the district. Is one of the things that I have been most interested in. And I know we've made movement towards that during the 16 years that I've been here. I'm glad to see it finally being formalized in a way that will have us look at what we do in the district through a bigger lens, as it talks about equity. And so I'm pleased to see this, even though I'm leaving, I'm pleased to see it coming to fruition as the work that will be going forward in the district. And thank you all for your focus and your concentration on this matter. And it will pay huge dividends for our students in the years ahead. So thank you very much, Tiffany.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Benitez.
Dr. Brown, can I pitch an idea to you, given that we had so much interest?
Oh, absolutely.
So beyond the 30 or so that'll make up the equity leadership team, is there a way to identify for all of the additional folks any neighborhood school connections? And might we consider sort of having some representative advisory or body to support those 30 or so team by school site, if we can identify those folks by neighborhood school?
It's a wonderful idea, and it's in line with one of the ideas that we're talking about, which is how we can use the leadership of some of the staff that have expressed interest in conjunction with the specific schools that our parents or community members are representing or have connection to. So I think there's a lot of potential there, and I just don't want to say no to 220 some people. I want to say yes to a core group, and I want to say thank you so much. And here's how you can also work with us to that other larger group. So thank you for the idea, much appreciated.
Well, I'm glad to know that we're going to make use of all of those volunteers and all of the people who want to be involved. I think that is great news. Do we have any further questions or discussion? Okay, well, let's move to report of board members.
Did we vote on that yet, Diane?
I'm sorry, Dr. Williams, you had.
Did we vote on that yet?
We didn't need a vote, Dr. Williams. It was just an announcement item.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with Dr. Benitez.
Thank you, Madam President. And I just want to personally take a moment to thank our retiring school board members here, Dr. Williams and Mr. Meyer, in addition to the beautiful words that were read in the resolutions. Just wanted to personally thank them for their service, for their years of service, and for their commitment to the success of all of our students. I wanted to share, that since we weren't able, out of an abundance of caution and precaution for everyone's health, that we weren't able to have our previously scheduled board workshops yesterday and part of today, that there was a lot on those agendas originally around measuring progress, right? Measuring progress for our Latinx students, for our highest needs students, English learners, things like that. If there was a way to get pieces of those in upcoming so that we wouldn't have to wait to another board workshop. I know that the presentations can be shared, but I wanted to see if we could explore dedicating some time at our next couple of meetings and then moving forward, where we could sort of not piecemeal that out, but get parts of that because I think there's a lot of time, right, between now and our next board workshop. We only have two more meetings, gentlemen, in December, and then we go on break, then we come back, and it's sort of, we get back to our work. So just wanted to share if we could, the ask really is if we could get some of those presentations, have some dialogue at our upcoming board meetings, particularly around the progress, right? And what intervention, support, strategies are best thinking. I know that we had a presentation scheduled for our K-8 students, right? That's one of those areas that I know Dr. Lund has been spending a lot of time with our team on. So, looking forward to seeing and hearing and having an opportunity to have some dialogue in that. Lastly, I wanted to share, and I shared this with Dr. Baker, if it wasn't last month, it was the previous month, that I have had the opportunity in my district to hold some virtual community office hours with community members, given that we are very limited, right, in the type of interaction that we're able to have. And I wanted to thank those community members. I think we had 16 or so at 1 week. We had another group of close to 20 join, and really the idea was threefold. And anyone is welcome to come, but of course, the focus of the conversation would be with the district that I represent, which is District 3. But really, I had three things in mind. One was just to provide a space to interact with community members. And that would include our staff from our schools. So in my 8 elementary schools, the middle school, the high school, these would not be formal district meetings. This is just me getting together with anyone in District 3 and providing just general updates because oftentimes we don't get a chance to interact in ways that we can provide updates beyond all the things that our district is doing, all right, in terms of communicating to parents. The second is to answer general questions. But third is, and I think we're missing this, all right, the big piece of what we've heard, of what we see, of what we hear, what we feel is building community, just having a space where folks could connect with each other. I think it was Board Member Kerr, if not at the last meeting, a couple meetings ago, that highlighted that normally folks would be able to share a few words, either dropping off students or picking up students with each other. And so I wanted to sort of take a stab, so to speak, at maybe providing that space. So I've found our conversations very rich, and I've heard from the folks that have participated in it that they are appreciative of that. So I'd like to start sharing at upcoming board meetings some of what I've heard back in those conversations, and also acknowledge that we're trying our very best to connect with our communities through this virtual community engagement. So I wanted to share that as an update, President Craighead, not to put any pressure on any of our colleagues, but just that our district is really thinking outside of the box. And I know we've had conversations about how to better connect, parent engagement, community engagement. So the last 2 times that I've met with community members during these virtual office hours have been very rich in terms of that community building aspect. I think that is it from my end.
Before we move on, I want to ask you a couple of questions about that. I think that's a great idea, and I'd love your reasons behind that. Who from the district helped you advertise or get the word out or set it up? You did that on your own?
Yeah, and I want to stress, thank you for the question, Madam Chair. I didn't want for folks to feel, whether it was community members or our staff, an additional pressure to have a formal district space. So this is just me. I just, created a Zoom link, blasted it out through my networks. And the invitation was, like I said, not exclusively to District 3 community members. Anyone could join in, but certainly with a priority on the schools and questions and issues in District 3. So yeah, in a nutshell, Madam Chair, I just kind of blasted it through my networks, word of mouth. I have been providing a few updates here and there on other social media outlets, like the Washington Neighborhood Association Facebook group has some members there. So, I'll sometimes go on there and just say, here's some updates, here's my email. And I scheduled one in a morning time block because some folks felt, after the students start school, they have some time available. And then the last one I held in the early evening, an hour and a half, and just kind of word of mouth, Madam President. But yeah, no formal connection and to our district. Formal, yes, to the school board member, but making sure that folks understand that, to put it another way, this isn't a chance to come and ask 30 questions that are very specific to our students with disabilities, right? That if they wanted to raise those questions, that I could connect them with the appropriate staff on our end. And also, if a principal or a counselor or a teacher wanted to join in, that they didn't feel like, oh no, I'm gonna get like 20 questions from parents specific to that school, right? So just keeping those things in mind, I wanted to avoid the sort of having it be a formal district-sponsored event.
Right. That sounds wonderful, and I'm glad you chose tonight to talk about that. That's inspiring, and I think we'll see more of that. You never know. Okay, Ms. Kerr.
Sure, and I'll continue that note of community engagement. I was thrilled to join the DeForest Park Neighborhood Association meeting this month, along with Miss Irving, the new principal at Jordan High School. So it was an opportunity to introduce her to some of our North Long Beach community members and give her the opportunity to tell what her vision for Jordan is and how she's supporting students, and also give the opportunity for neighbors to connect with the school, maybe in new and unique ways, especially during COVID. So thank you to DeForest Park and to Miss Irving for taking the time at the end of a busy day to do that work. I also want to thank Dr. Baker for joining me last week. I've done this a couple times as I've been a board member, and I've called it a back to school briefing. And this year we called it an LBUSD update. And it's an opportunity to reach out to some of our local legislators and elected officials to give them an update of what's happening in Long Beach Unified. So we were thrilled to be joined with representatives from Congressman Lowenthal's office, Congresswoman Nanette Barragan, Speaker Rendon's office, Assemblymember O'Donnell, Councilmember Rex Richardson popped in for a bit, and his staff, and also staff members for council members in Dejas and Councilmember Austin. And it was an opportunity to introduce Dr. Baker to some of our local leaders. And while she has been with us for 28 years and we know her, it was a chance for her to introduce herself and what her vision is as the new superintendent of Long Beach Unified, and to really reinforce with our local legislators and electeds that we know that we work together to support students and families in our shared constituencies and in our community. So they got to ask some questions, whether they were COVID related or not, about what's happening in Long Beach Unified right now, and really just affirming those partnerships and the dedication to provide information across constituencies. We know council offices oftentimes get calls and questions about school issues just because people think that that might be an appropriate place. So this gives them an opportunity to at least have some answers, but know that they can reach out anytime to connect with us here at the school district where that jurisdiction lies. So thank you to Dr. Baker for taking time again after a long, busy day. I just wanted to give a shout out to the Hughes PE teachers. So they're trying to be creative in ways to engage their students and get them up and moving. So my house in our front yard, which is near Hughes Middle School, has some barcodes posted, which the kids can come by and scan it, and it gives them an exercise to do. And they record themselves or take a picture of themselves doing that. They have, I think, at least 20 stations at different businesses that surround Hughes and asked me to do it in my front yard. So I offered some Starbucks cards to enter into a raffle to encourage students to come on by. But I just really want to praise the ingenuity and creativity of our teachers to continue to keep kids engaged when it's really a difficult time to do that. Shout out to all of our student athletes who made commitments to colleges this past week. We know that that will continue. And it seems strange that as we are not competing in sports right now, we know that they have bright futures ahead of them as they pursue those athletics in college. So congratulations to the ones who've made those commitments this week. And just really want to encourage everybody to take the week off next week. Take some time for yourself, turn off the phone, turn off the screens, be with your immediate family, please, as you celebrate and are thankful, because I am so thankful for how you are committed to your work, committed to our community and to our staff, how you're committed to our families. So I'm grateful for that. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Meyer?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Doug Otto and I, my successor on the board, we just finished visiting every single school in District 4, and we spent over an hour with every principal so that Doug Otto established a great relationship with those principals, got information about the schools, and he really stresses, relationships. So he will be able to sit on the board and come off full speed in terms of his knowledge of our schools. And by the way, he was just really impressed with the quality of our principals. It's a fact I think we on the board already know about, and we probably should acknowledge more publicly. But the talent that we have in our schools, teaching staff, support staff, and our principals is just remarkable. And my hat goes off to each and every one of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Williams.
Yes, Madam Chair. I spoke with Eric Miller yesterday, and the plan going forward is being able to schedule times with all the principals that are part of my district and help guiding through that process. I know he talked about that initially with Jill Baker, but we'll be putting that in place. And I know John and Doug Otto are way out in front, but that's the beauty of being able to win early. We're just going to have to play catch up a little bit here, but the process is still the same. Getting him familiar with the people out there and some of the issues that are part of the district. So we'll be doing that. And I want to just reiterate my thanks and appreciation to our executive team, our staff, our teachers, for the adjustments and things they have to do frequently because of this pandemic. It's really impressive that we take this work on, and not just as a response, but making sure that work does produce the kinds of results that are necessary. And just really appreciate that work, ongoing work that they're doing each and every day. So thank you one and all, and be safe for the holiday.
Thank you. I think I'm just going to build on that and remind people to be very safe. I know that for me and my immediate family, we have chosen not to travel We usually visit family in Northern California. We're not going to travel. We're not going to spend Thanksgiving with family members that are close by. We are just going to stay in our little house with our little family. And we've decided to make the sacrifice so it's safer for everybody. And as you all know, the numbers are spiking, and we just in this district are experiencing an increase in positive cases, that sort of thing. So we're choosing to be very careful. It's not an easy decision, but it's one that needs to be made. And I'd also like to report that I attended a meeting this morning, virtually of course, for the Parent Policy Council of Head Start. And at one point during the meeting, there was an exchange of ideas with the parents. And it was such a wonderful example of parents supporting parents and the Head Start staff supporting the parents. And one of the ideas that I thought was really unique is that November 22nd at noon, Eventbrite is hosting a meditation for kids. And so it was this kind of idea and resources that were being exchanged and shared. And it just reminded me how thankful I am for people who volunteer, who step forward to help others. And there is a strength in that. It's empowering. And when I see parents getting involved at the preschool level, I know that these are parents that are going to stay involved throughout their children's school years. And that's wonderful, because as we know, it really takes a village. And the more support and buy-in we have from the parents, the better. It makes the education of our students so much richer. And also, I just want to mention how thankful I am for everybody. When we have to pivot and make decisions, because of the challenges we're facing, mostly because of COVID, everybody's flexible enough to do that. And I know it's disappointing not to have our workshops and not to have these presentations that we look forward to, all the information. And Dr. Benitez, to your point, we will have that information before the next workshops, because this is something we have to work on. This is not information we can wait on. So I know that that is in the works, that will be part of our upcoming agendas, and some presentations will be put before us in regular meetings so that we won't have to wait. So now let's turn it over to Dr. Baker for the superintendent's report.
Thank you. I want to echo the same sentiment. I want to thank the board and staff in our community for their understanding with our need to postpone the board workshop, and just reflect on the reason that you passed an emergency resolution last spring was to allow flexibility in our response to COVID. And so this week was an example of really needing to think about the health and safety of all who participate, and to make a decision to postpone the workshop and to hold this meeting entirely virtually. So thank you for that flexibility. And I'll just affirm, Dr. Benitez, your request. We're already working on the December 2nd agenda to bring in some of the items. So I mentioned to President Craighead earlier today, tonight might be a short meeting, but we've got good meetings to come. And so keep your calendars open for some staff reports in the upcoming board meetings. I want to thank Katie Hamilton, who kicked off our meeting. I am loving hearing our students start the meetings off. A great decision, Mrs. Craighead, to open up with a great report, and also just to be reminded of why we even exist and why we meet, to have that student voice just be present right at the beginning. I'm loving that for us. Also had a great second meeting with my superintendent student advisory committee this week. Students who brought a student voice and student perspective to all of the budget engagement that has been going on across the district. And so Dr. Salazar led our student advisory, the superintendent's student advisory, in an activity to ask them to give a student perspective on what adults are saying are the priorities for budget. And it is very interesting. That will come to you as a separate set of or a related set of recommendations so that you can see how our students are weighing in on the budget priorities of our district. I want to thank Mrs. Lavelle, who does a lot of the behind the scenes work to get ready for those meetings. I want to thank Dr. Camarino and Dr. Brown for being adult supporters in that meeting. It really means a lot to the students, and something I love is that they want to stay on at the end of the meeting and engage with one another. So we turn our cameras off and we go on mute, and they stay on and have an opportunity to interact with one another. Also want to wish our students, our families, and our staff a restful Thanksgiving break. This is really a time to rest. I know there's a lot of exhaustion. Teachers are feeling it. Staff members are feeling it. And so as much as we can send staff who have vacation days or who are off next week, please rest and please take time for your families. And we want to encourage you to follow the health and safety guidelines that are out there. We know that COVID continues to spread in our local community as well as across the nation. We are going to actually be sending something out to staff to remind them of the safety protocols, especially upon return to work after that holiday break. And so be on the lookout for that. And then lastly, I'll just alert the community. Tomorrow's our bi-monthly community update that has some information about our continued phasing in and our response to COVID, some resources, and a message of gratitude. So please look forward to that if you're a member of the community. That will be out tomorrow on Thursday. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any announcements?
I would just like to say, everyone be joyful, be safe.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And I don't know if I mentioned the teachers specifically earlier, because I know tonight we've talked about our classified employees and we've talked about staff, but Dr. Baker, when you mentioned the teachers and how hard they're working, I have to echo that sentiment, because I know that they're putting in just extraordinary efforts to provide for our kids these days. So I wanted to make sure that I mention our teachers. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everyone.